2024 year ahead overview. So now we're talking about July, but we do have to remember that that Cancer season solstice activation point actually puts us in the second quarter of this new astrological calendar. Of course, we would have reached the halfway mark in the 2024 year. So we're dealing with different pressures, different intensities here. And moving into July, especially the end of July, it always gets crazy. It always gets chaotic. We're in a pressurized system. Why? Because the timeline jumps that we chose for ourselves back in May, whether it's the highest timeline or the lowest timeline available, we've been experimenting with them since May. In July, we really have to choose. We have to anchor in because we're preparing for this lock-in point that takes place early August. You may identify it with the Lionsgate portal. It's just an activation of being in Leo season. Leo season is the heart and soul of the zodiac. We align with the star Regularis, which of course is the royal star of this Leo energy. And that means that we are at our most peak potential and potency as far as our creative life force energy goes. And so as we approach some of these pivotal choice points, if you will, things always get pressurized. We have to really be tested to see whether or not we have the determination to see the challenges through and what it is that we're actually committed to. So coming into July 1st, we're going to see Jupiter semi-square with Chiron. So this is going to be challenging because Jupiter, again, in this Gemini energy, we have a magnification on the division between our heart and our head, between our higher selves and our ego selves, between our inner realm and our outer realm. That Gemini energy is represented by the twins, the angel and the devil, so to speak, the high, the low, the good, the bad, the everything in between. And so there's a whole lot of information coming at us, really challenging our perspective, challenging our ability to overcome a false narrative in order to align with the authentic one. But Chiron, the wounded healer here in Aries energy, helping us anchor in this new version of self and really get to know thyself in a different way, we are going to really start questioning who it is that we now are. We're going to have I'm going to call it imposter syndrome type of feeling at this particular point. We are not really going to know who it is that we are. We're not going to recognize ourselves. And a lot of this is because of the applied pressure needed in order for us to kind of anchor into what feels the best for us, relying on our intuition, not our intellect, which is going to be very hard because the Gemini energy that we're in and the Aries energy that we're in between Jupiter and Chiron are the egoic building blocks of who it is that we are here in this materialistic realm. So there's going to be a little bit of a mental health issue, again, being overwhelmed by all kinds of different perspectives, all kinds of details and information. And that's really going to put a skewed perspective on who it is that we actually are, what it is that we actually believe in, how it is that we're actually expressing our inner realms to that outer world. And shit is definitely going to get more complicated, more confusing, because on the 2nd, not only do we have Neptune going retrograde, which is essentially when the universe bitch slaps the rose-colored glasses off of our face and we can't run, we can't hide, we have to deal with life as it is, not for the way that we wished it would be. But we also have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information communication and how it is that we express ourselves, moving into Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiacs. We are definitely going to have to work on kind of bridging the gap between the distance, the gap between what our heart wants and what our head thinks we should want. And so this is going to be a true alignment. There's a lot of creative force energy that gets triggered and activated here. There's a lot of conversations that need to be had, especially where emotions, heart space is concerned. We need to recognize new inspirations, new passions under this Leo energy. And on the 5th, we're going to have Uranus, the Great Awakener, semi-square, creating tension and conflict with the true node. That is the soul path, the destiny point that we need to be getting on. And so there is going to be a certain level of confusion that comes in with this particular aspect. We're not seeing the growth. We're not seeing the path forward. Instead, we're focused on the problems. We're focused on the obstacles. We're focused on the challenges. And we're kind of down on ourselves. Again, Saturn is retrograde. We're not feeling confident. We're not feeling well equipped, well prepared. We don't have willpower. We don't have the discipline to even give an F at this particular point in time. But we have to, because this is, again, an anchor point of the vibration that we're going to be locking in and playing with in this karmic chapter that began under the Cancer energy, the solstice point that popped off in June. So we see on the 9th that Jupiter is going to sextile the true node. So this is great because after we sit in that little bit of confusion and we question everything and we tear ourselves down and beat ourselves up, what comes out of that is a new perspective, a new idea, a new plan, a new path, a new attempt for growth, for expansion. And we definitely see some obstacles and challenges removed, and we're able to take a step forward in this new path, in this new direction, where we're validating for ourselves what it is that we believe to be true within our own selves, within our own lives. And when we start just relying on ourselves, and again, stop looking outside of ourselves for validation and confirmation, again, South Node and Libra energy, we get to anchor into what we believe to be true, what we believe to be the best for us. Again, North Node in Aries energy. Now, on the 18th, we're going to have Jupiter and Saturn come together in a very positive way. And we're going to have some pop-offs with this particular interaction on the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, the 25th, 26th. Now, that sounds very extensive, and it is. Jupiter and Saturn are first of all, we're having flashbacks to 2021 when we had Jupiter and Saturn both in the Aquarius energy. That was like one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back. We didn't feel like we were getting anywheres. Jupiter and Saturn, I often use the analogy of the accordion. When the accordion is pulled all the way out to its greatest expansion, that's Jupiter's energy, growth, expansion. When we push that accordion all the way in, that is restriction, and that is Saturn. Saturn wants to restrict us, not to punish us, although, kinda, but to make sure that we're being tested in the right ways to really access the previous wisdom and knowledge that we've gained from the tough love life lessons. Now, lucky for us, this is a positive interaction, which means that this isn't one step forward, two steps back. This is a very calculated and deliberate step forward, and we're anchoring in it for all it's worth. Then we take a good look around and we kind of, debate the pros and cons about it. And what we realize is, guess what? This is safe territory. I'm going to take another baby step. That takes place on the 20th. And then we take a look around, we evaluate the situation, and then another step unfolds for us. We take that on the 21st, then another on the 22nd, then another on the 25th, then another on the 26th. Taking us all the way into August. What happens at the beginning of August? We're presented with the timeline jump with the choice point. Okay, but before we even get to that 8-8, again, that many people associate with the Lionsgate portal, that, just a reminder, very rarely does the 8-8 actually align with the sun and the Regularis star that actually creates the Lionsgate portal in its wholeness. Sometimes the portal opens, sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's a portal, that it's an activation every single time, but the Regularis star is definitely the alignment that we're looking towards, because that is the fullest potential of the peak authentic version of self that we are going to reach in a particular calendar year. So before that 8-8 on the 5th, what are we going to see happen? Yep, Mercury's going to retrograde in that Leo energy. That is something. Well, technically, we kick off in the Virgo energy. We end up in that Leo energy. We will direct in Leo energy and then go direct in Virgo energy again. That's a whole spiel that we'll just wait until that particular point in time in the calendar to kind of do a deep dive in. But what you got to know is this is our next retrograde series. What happens when Mercury retrogrades? Well, we have to reflect, we have to redo, we have to revisit, we have to rewire. And then we make this choice point, this decision point. And then followed that, Jupiter is going to make a positive interaction with Pluto. So this is amazing because this means that there is a major change, a major transformation, a major growth point, not only in our narrative, not only in our dialogue, not only in our perspective, but in our ability to see the greater, grander picture of what it is that we're building towards and understand the smaller pieces that are needed in order to actually get us there. So, the whole Mercury retrograde back in that Leo energy taking place in the mid-month in the heart and soul of the zodiac. Again, having Mercury be in the heart and soul of the zodiac means that our heart and our head are trying to get in alignment. That is the first stage needed in order for a major change to happen in our external realm. We're definitely having the energies push for just that. Now on the 19th, we're going to have a full moon in Aquarius. And, that's pretty normal. We're in Leo energy. Leo energy and Aquarius energy share that particular axis. First of all, it's going to be a full illumination to some of the situations and circumstances that are popping off as I'm coming to you live here on January 11th. We haven't moved into Aquarius season yet. That will happen on the 20th when the Sun and Pluto move into Aquarius energy together. In August, we're going to be reflecting back to this particular point. We're going to see different details emerge that were right in front of our faces at the time, but that we didn't have the awareness to actually pick up upon until this particular juncture point. Now that we have the full moon Aquarius giving us the bigger, broader picture of information and details that we have just missed, we also have Jupiter squaring Saturn. So this is very reminiscent of 2021, of that back and forth, that step forward, those two steps back, because Jupiter here wants to push us to make a change, to make, I'm going to say, an effort to align with a new belief system, to communicate our thoughts, to create new opportunities, to clear the air, clear the space. And what happens? Saturn, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy, still floating around in confusion and delusion land. And so, our mental plane, our narrative, the information that we're working with is pushing us to make a change moving forward. But Saturn's not letting us because we really haven't built up the confidence, the self-esteem, the willpower, the discipline that we need within ourselves, again, retrograde energy, in order to actually make that particular transit happen. So we're going to see on the 28th, Mercury go direct in this Leo energy. On the 29th, Venus is going to enter into Libra energy. Why is that important, you may ask? Well, because Venus rules over Libran energy. And so to have her in her rulership, while Mercury, the head space, is trying to align with the heart space here in this Leo energy, trying to get those two in alignment so that Venus and Libran energy can start balancing the emotional scales, start balancing out what it is that she wants, needs, and desires out of her relationship dynamics, out of her money matters. Again, this is a true heart activation of realizing where it is that life has been a little bit crazy, life has been out of whack, and we have to do everything that we can to kind of restore that peace, that harmony, that balance. And so that's a very interesting dynamic moving into September with, because September is typically speaking when we kind of get back to reality, if you will. There's a little bit of a reality check coming at us here in September. September 1st, Uranus, who is retrograde at this point, is going to make an aspect with Pluto, who is retrograde, at the 29th degree in Capricorn energy. My goodness. So we have the Great Awakener himself throwing wild card energies, curveballs at us, unexpected events at us, in order to totally destroy, deconstruct, and debilitate, if you will, the systems, the structures, the foundations that we have been trying to destroy since 2008. Again, Pluto. He got hopped up on steroids here, January 20th, in order to bring this final chapter to a close. And here the Great Awakener is teaming up, sending lightning bolts down to the earth to totally shake up, wake up, destroy the earth plane that is no longer needed to support us in moving into new earth. Not only do I expect shit to hit the fan on the collective stage as far as distractions go, and not so nice situations, fear-based, war type of topics and themes go, but I also suspect that earthquakes, whether man-made or organic in nature, lightning, storms, volcanic eruptions, definitely popping off in September. It's going to be a storm season like no other, so get yourself prepared. The 9th is when Mercury re-enters into Virgo energy again. So, going back towards the end of July, beginning of August, Mercury moved in that Virgo energy. We went retrograde, crept back into that Leo energy, the heart and soul. We got our heart and our head in alignment. We had new realizations, new heart values. Mercury went direct. Now we're seeing Mercury take up his placement of power in this Virgo energy. This is where we sort through the good from the bad, the old from the new. This is where we use discernment. This is where we cast judgment, not only on ourselves, but on the world around us, to see what it is that actually sticks. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Mercury in Virgo energy is all about mind over matter and understanding that what we consume our mind with is what we bring into matter, what we bring into form. And because we are having a destruction, a collapse of the old world around us, it's going to be hard for us to process. But Mercury being in Virgo energy at this time is a perfect opportunity for us to kind of gain a different perspective and vision of why some of these not so nice things have to happen in order to clear the space and clean the slate for us to be building something new in the place of the things that really weren't for us. Why it's also important moving into September to keep note of this, and again, I am going to continue to plug downloading the 2024 astrology calendar so that you have this right in front of you, is that on the 17th of September, we're going to be moving into eclipse season again. And one would think that maybe we were in for a full moon in eclipse energy and Aries energy, because that would be the natural progression. But spoiler alert, we're actually having a full moon lunar eclipse at the very late degrees in Pisces energy. Now, why this is important, and not that I want to get too ahead of myself here, but we're getting a taste of the karmic life lessons that we will be experiencing from 2025 to 2027 when the nodes of the moon shift out of the Aries and Libran axis into the Pisces and Virgo axis. Dun, dun, dun. Why do I say it like that? Well, first of all, we have to understand that the Pisces and Virgo axis is the healing axis. The Virgo part of it is healing the physical body and the mental plane, the mind space here in the physical realm. While the Pisces energy is focused on healing our emotions and our soul selves. This is where generational trauma comes in. This is where releasing the pain and trauma responses in our physical body. Again, Virgo energy is concerned. Virgo energy wants to perfect the system, the details of the day-to-day in order to reach the greater, grander vision, the dream, if you will, that Pisces holds for us. So it's going to be interesting because the North Node in Pisces energy is pushing for the truth of our soul, of our spirit, of our karma, of our imagination, of our creative force energy. The South Node in Virgo energy is the control that we need to release over trying to manipulate and organize every freaking piece that our day-to-day life actually equals up in. The Virgo energy wants to fix, solve, heal, resolve. There's nothing wrong with that except for the fact that many of us are far too consumed with fixing, solving, repairing, healing, resolving other people's issues when we should be focused on ourselves. Again, another reason why the North Node in Aries is happening at the particular point in which it's happening, because we have to pour more into ourselves than other people. The South Node is what's familiar, what we have to let go of, and we have to let go of trying to fix and solve and resolve other people's issues while we totally just ignore our own. And a lot of that is definitely going to come front row and center over the course of 2025 to 2027 when we're totally immersed in that particular energy. So we're getting a taste of what it's going to be like from 2025 to 2027 under this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces energy. So first of all, lunar eclipse tends to remove something out of our lives. Full moon fully illuminates a new level of awareness, new level of enlightenment, taking us back to Pisces season. So again, February to March of 2024, we're going to be having a lot of realizations. That was, let's call it pre-eclipse season for the first eclipse season of 2024. We're going to be taken back that point. We're going to understand the amount of healing, the amount of growth that we've been able to do, the amount of generational trauma that we've been able to resolve, especially in May when we have some pop-offs there that really kind of focus in for us what healing those generational traumas actually look like for us. This is going to put us in a totally different space of spirituality. Okay, so our belief system definitely getting a new level of refinement. On the 20th, we're going to have Saturn and Uranus come together in a very positive way. We love this, but it is going to be an unexpected event that really challenges us to align to a new willpower, new discipline, especially where overriding the old narratives, the old belief systems are concerned. That Uranian energy throwing wild card events at us in order to test us on where it is that we can stabilize, again, the Taurus energy that Uranus is in, stabilize this new perspective, this new awareness, this new belief, this new vision, this new goal, this new dream. It's going to be a good energy, but it's also going to prevent a little bit of craziness, a little bit of chaos. Why is that, you may ask? Well, because we're building towards the 22nd of September. That is when Libra season begins. That's when the equinox resets the karmic scale, so to speak. That's when we close the door on the karmic chapter that we've been working on and from since June, when we entered into that solstice energy with Cancer season. So the 22nd hits, Libra season kicks off, the equinox kicks off. There is a stillness. There's a stillness that we're feeling, but it's very eerie because what we're going to now be exposed to, and again, flashback to Libra season of 2023, was the most wackadoodle, dark, torturous, shadow worky type of Libra season that we've experienced thus far. It was absolute wackadoodle. There was, I don't want to bring all this up, but the whole Middle East war collapse, genocide, topics and themes and situations popped off. Why? Because every single karmic chapter that we enter into, whether it be a equinox point or a solstice point, shit always hits the fan on the greater, grander collective stage in order for us to be in a fear-based narrative so that we don't take opportunities to shift timelines. It happened back in 2023. Again, we have yet to see what the collective is capable of here in 2024, but this is going to be another situation and circumstance where the likelihood of shit hitting the fan, not only on the collective stage, but in our own individual lives, especially where relationships are concerned, this is definitely going to put us in an extreme point of view, because again, the whole purpose of Libra season is to identify where the scales are unbalanced, where life is crazy and chaotic, so that we can put energy, extra attention and efforts into balancing those particular scales. Spoiler alert, this is going to be a pretty interesting Libra season as well. I don't know that it's going to be as wackadoodle and dark as the one that we had in 2023 was, but here's why I'm saying that there's going to be a different element to this particular Libra season. And it's because on the 22nd, when the sun moves into Libra, when the karmic scales get reset because of that equinox energy, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, in her rulership now over Libra season, is going to be doing a deep dive in Scorpio energy. You know what that means? Shadow work. You know what that means? Relationships are definitely changing, especially the relationship that we have with ourselves. We're going to have a huge plummet, if you will, in our self-confidence, in our self-esteem, in our self-worth, in our self-value. Why? Because we have to sit in that darkness in order for us to appreciate the new light. And that new light is going to be when Venus enters into Sag energy later in October. And so we're sitting in this darkness, in this funk. Scorpio energy, yes, is shadow work, but that is where major changes and transformations need to take place in order for us to level up and boss up in our lives. And that's exactly what we're going to do, but we have to get to the heart, the soul, the truth of the matter. And there's no better energy to do that in than Scorpio energy. Now, the last thing that we got going on here in September is on the 25th, we're going to have Saturn semi-square Pluto. This is not going to be fun, not going to be good. Semi-square is creating tension and conflict. Saturn is trying to build in new belief systems, new understanding, new creative force energy. Pluto, again, at this 29th critical crisis degree of Capricorn energy, collapsing the confusion, the delusion, the lies, the corruption. So this is definitely going to be a very trivial time, and it's setting us up for, again, we're already in eclipse season, so we're not in control. We're not in control. We're not in the driver's seat. The universe is going to sort us out in big ways. We are just, along for the ride, so to speak, and it doesn't feel too pleasant. But this particular energy, this particular aspect is carrying us into October, and you best believe that October is going to be a banger of a month. Okay, so why is October a banger of a month, you may ask? Well, first of all, may I remind you that we are now working in the third quarter of the astrological calendar, and let's call it the last quarter of 2024. Okay, so we understand that there's different cycles, there's different patterns, there's different intensities. October 2nd, we have the new moon solar eclipse in Libra energy. So a new moon is the dark phase of the moon, so it's always a little bit funky. Solar eclipse is adding something to our lives that may not appear as a gift, instead may appear as a punishment at first until we absorb the lesson. And in Libran energy, this is majorly focused on relationships, starting with the relationship within ourselves, secondary, the relationships that we have with other people, but more of a focus on rebalancing the scales within ourselves, within our physical realm to achieve happiness, joy, peace, and harmony. So again, we're not in control in eclipse season at all. We just got to sit back and watch, sit back and observe. Now on the 9th, we will be kind of clearing out of that eclipse energy. But Jupiter, who, again, growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings in Gemini energy, which is information overload, Jupiter is going to go retrograde. So anytime Jupiter is retrograding, the energy is internalized. We're looking within ourselves. We got to grow up. We got to glow up. We got to expand on our comfort zones. We got to expand on our information, our wisdom, our knowledge. We have to really push the boundaries of our comfort zones. We have to create new opportunities based off of the information, the details, the data, the statistics that just came at us while Jupiter was direct. On the 11th, Pluto is going to go direct at this critical crisis degree, 29 degrees in Capricorn energy. This will be the very last time that Pluto will be in Capricorn energy, because now we're working our way out of the Capricorn energy, preparing to set up shop in Aquarius energy, but we're not there yet. The 12th of October, Jupiter, who is now retrograde, is going to sextile Chiron, the wounded healer. So what we're going to get from this is an inner growth, an inner glow up, an identity crisis and rebranding at its greatest, because now we have a different lens, a different perspective that we're now seeing ourselves through. I'm going to say pressurized system in our outer realm is not creating opportunities for growth and expansion, because Jupiter is now retrograde. So the opportunity for growth, for change, for transformation is in our inner realm based off of information, based off of the way that we see ourselves. Chiron being the wounded healer, this is a sextile, so this is a point of growth and healing. We are seeing ourselves from a new set of eyes, where we're not as wounded, we're not as confused, we're not as delusional, we're not as down on ourselves. This is a glow up, this is a grow up. This is a beautiful energy that's going to help us build our inner selves up in preparation for these planets to go direct, and for us to put forth the energy, the wisdom, the knowledge that we would have gained, we would learn while these planets are retrograde, that we're now going to have to put out into the world. This brings us to November. November 2nd, we have Jupiter sextiling Chiron again. This is like a bam, bam, like, woo, okay. You're seeing yourself from a new set of eyes. You've seen the growth. You've seen the transformation. You've seen the healing. You've seen the glow up in your inner realm. Let's do it again. Let's level this bitch up to the next level. Let's reach new levels of awarenesses. Let's reach new points of healing, new points of growth. We love this for ourselves, because on the 15th, Saturn is going to go direct. And that is when we are now going to take that internalized energy that needed to beat us down in order for us to build ourselves back up in a better way, finally be able to make moves out in the outer realm. This is where we have a new discipline, we have new motivation, we have a new willpower, we have the new path, we have a new plan that we're wanting to execute. Now, on that same day, here's very interesting, okay? On that same day, on the 15th, we're going to have the full moon take place in Taurus energy. Now, that wouldn't be such a shock. We're in Scorpio season at that point in time. It is absolutely typical and normal to have a full moon in Taurus. The reason why it is a double whammy is, first of all, Saturn goes direct Then we have the full moon bringing into awareness where it is in our physical realm, Taurus energy. We have to make changes in order for us to shift our belief system, the Pisces energy that Saturn is in, and actually bring a new vision to life. Pisces energy, Taurus energy work so well together because Pisces energy is intuitive, it's spiritual, it's karmic, it's fluid, it's dreamy, it's imaginative. The Taurus energy is this materialistic realm. It's where we bring those ideas, that imagination, that creativity, those intuitive insights into form, into matter. And so the full moon is illuminating where in our physical realm, we got to get rid of some things. We got to release some things. Why? Because we're no longer in alignment with them. We no longer believe that that is the best way that we could be living, that that is the best course of action, that this is the best relationship for us, the best job for us, the best way to make money, the best way to take care of ourselves. Saturn going direct in Pisces energy is changing our belief system. And we have the ability under the full moon to have a realization what we got to get rid of in order to have the space to bring new things into form, into life. The 19th, just a couple of days later, Pluto, the great transformer himself, moving into Aquarius for the last time. We will sit in this Aquarius energy until 2044. My goodness. Okay. So again, there are plenty of forecasts that I've already put out over the last, I'm going to say 2 years about what Pluto in Aquarius is all about. We've already dipped our toe in it. We've already had examples of it. This is essentially the major change, the major transformation that we are going to be building upon from now until 2044. Major improvements. It is a fixed air sign, so we are stabilizing in the information, in the details, in the knowledge that we've been exposed to over the course of the year. We are innovative, we are progressive, we are rebellious, we are revolutionary. This is definitely because Pluto is a generational planet in Aquarius energy. This is where AI and what we do with AI, whether we're going to let the evildoers make sure that the robots are just going to take over and just kill us all, or whether we're actually going to use AI in order to help the people. Again, Aquarius energy, returning the power to the people, especially where technology is concerned, especially where talking about space and aliens and like the whole disclosure thing, that is going to be a main focus, a main source as well. On the 25th, we're going to see Mercury go retrograde in Sagittarius energy. This is going to be a flashback to the beginning of the year, January 1st, when Mercury went direct at 22 degrees, 11 minutes. After being retrograde, not only in the Capricorn energy, but in the Sagittarius energy, and then we went forward again. 22 degrees, 11 minutes, the most divinely scripted degree in Sagittarius energy that is about truth, that is about the greater, grander perspective, that is about confidence and optimism and hopes and wishes and dreams, when we're in alignment with our higher selves. The 27th, just a couple of days later, we are going to have Saturn and Uranus pop off in a positive way once again. An unexpected, revolutionary, calculated risk moving forward, now initiating this new sense of self, this new belief system, this new vision, this new dream. And we are willing to abandon our comfort zones to see what lies after that wall of fear, that wall of comfortability. So we can definitely expect that towards the end of November, carrying us into December, something major is going to happen on the greater, grander global stage. And a lot of this, keep in mind that a lot of this is because now we're waiting for and building towards the 21st of December. So from the end of November to the 21st of December, there is going to be major shit hitting the fan that is going to challenge our belief system, going to challenge what we thought was true, what we believe to be true. That puts us in a situation of craziness, of chaos, to see whether or not we're going to let the fear-based programming of the ego self rule over our actions and our decisions, or whether or not we're going to align with our higher selves and let our soul and spirit lead the way. This brings us into December. December 6th, this is when Mars goes retrograde. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this. When Mars goes retrograde, it's never fun. Doesn't even matter what sign he's retrograding in, although that does add a little bit more complexities and intensities to what it is that we're going to experience. When Mars retrogrades, we're put on pause. We don't have the warrior type of spirit. We're taking no action. We have very low physical energy. We're not inspired. We're not motivated. What we are is angry. What we are is restless. What we are is frustrated, agitated. Mars is retrograding in Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, our true, real, authentic soul selves. It is not going to feel good to sit back and watch shit hit the fan and not be able to do anything about it. And the fact that he is carrying us into 2025, and the fact that he is going to be retrograding into Cancer energy in 2025 before he goes direct into Cancer energy, ouch, okay? Just ouch. That's all I'm going to say about it, is that ouch. It is not going to feel good, not going to be good. But again, just keep in mind that we are ending this movie. We're ending this play. We're ending this chapter. And right now, we're at the climactic point of understanding what is going to fall, what is going to be totally destroyed, how this baby's going to end. We're getting the hints and clues of what it is that we're going to be dealing with moving into 2025, and we're not going to be able to do a damn thing about it. We're a fan, we're a spectator, we're just sitting back watching, and it is going to be infuriating, and it is not going to feel good, but it is necessary in order for us to get our shit together, to get in alignment. And when Mars moves back into that Cancer energy, first of all, we're going to be hella intuitive. We're going to be hella defensive, hella protective of ourselves, of what we love, of what we've built, of what we know to be true. And then the Cancer energy shows us where it is that we need to create some boundaries, not only to protect ourselves, but to make sure that we're not giving our energy away to external sources that are depleting us of the life force energy that we need to be reserving for ourselves. So definitely not a favorable aspect, but something that needs to happen. But here's some shiny lights. Okay, so Mars goes retrograde on the 6th in that Leo energy. On the 7th, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she is moving into Aquarius energy. This is like flashback to February when Mars and Venus had their lovers kiss in this Aquarius energy. And so while Mars kind of sits on the bench, the masculine energy, again, needs to take a time out while retrograding. Venus, the feminine energy, oh, she's taking charge. She's taken the leadership role. She's leading us in a rebellion to fight for what is right, to fight for women's rights, to fight for fairness, to fight for justice, to fight for value, for worth, for happiness, for joy, for peace, for harmony. She is fighting for it. We're going to do good things. Now, it may create a little bit of a shit show in order for us to actually stand up for ourselves. But you best believe that earlier shadow work that we did back in September when Venus was moving through Scorpio, yep, that lit the fire in the soul space needed in order for the divine feminine to step up and take this leadership role. And what's also interesting is that on the 7th, this exact same day, Neptune, who is the higher octave of Venus, Neptune is going to go direct. So we get to put the rose-colored glasses on and start kind of conjuring up a new hope, new wish, new goal for the collective. And with Venus kind of taking the charge, if you will, in the Aquarius energy, helping us to break free of the constructs that are obviously not doing us any good, this is, again, the beginning of the end and the end of figuring out what the beginning is going to look like moving into 2025. It's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic as we approach the solstice energy, but we're not there yet. The 13th, Jupiter and Pluto are going to make a positive interaction with each other. So, Jupiter, again, wants us to grow, wants us to tap into the wisdom, to the knowledge that we've already kind of accumulated. Pluto, again, in this Aquarius energy, set up, kind of hunkering down for his time from now until 2044. We are looking to communicate, again, Jupiter and Gemini energy, communicate, truly express ourselves, the different options that we have available to the collective. And the major changes, the major transformations that we have to fight for in order to have some serious innovative progress take place to the societal structures that we will now begin building in 2025 to replace those corrupt structures that we have totally dissolved, brought to an end, brought to a closure point in 2024. On the 15th, Mercury's going to go direct. Interesting dynamic there. In Sag energy, so truth bringers, hopes and wishes bringers, really putting us in the bigger, broader perspective to have conversations that are needed in order for us to get all collectively on the same page, fighting for the same goal. And what happens on the 21st? Capricorn season begins. That's when the solstice kicks off. We close out the karmic chapter that we've been working in since Libra season. We enter into a new karmic chapter that, of course, is the last quarter of the astrological calendar that will take us into March of 2025 when Aries season kicks off and the new astrological calendar begins. The 24th, though, Jupiter is going to square Saturn again. So this is like, we want to take action, we want to make moves, we want to grow, we want to talk, we want to communicate, but Saturn pumping the brakes. Why? Because the collective is not on the same page. And if we force something at this point due to the information and details that we've been presented with, when not a lot of the collective is actually in alignment with that particular narrative or belief, we will be creating an absolute chaotic shit show scene for us to be moving into 2025 under the influence of. We do not want that. Chiron's going to help us out. He's going to go direct on the 29th. That's that warrior type of spirit that we need in order to identify the problems, not shy away from them, boss up to them, tackle them head on, so to speak. We're a little bit, I'm going to say cocky, if you will, when Chiron first goes direct, because we're like, oh yeah, that's a problem? Bring it, bring it. You know, we're kind of baiting it. And because we're in this rebellious type of energy, again, Pluto in Aquarius is all about rebellion in order for a revolution to take place. We are definitely kicking this particular chapter off with a very rebellious type of energy. The last thing taking place here in 2024, December 31st. Okay, guys, you can't make this shit up. I just love this. New Year's Eve, as some people would describe it to be. Pluto, the great transformer in this Aquarius energy, nothing's stopping him now. He's full-blown, hell-bent, and damn well and determined to make some major changes and transformations in the societal structures that this next generation will only know to be true. Pluto is going to sextile beautiful interaction with the true node in Aries energy. You want to talk about a glow up? You want to talk about growth? You want to talk about seeing the path very clearly on what it is that we have to pour our time, energy, and attention into? You want to see freedom? You want to see independence, not only in your own individual lives, but on the greater, grander collective scale, where freedom and sovereignty need to be returned. The power needs to be returned back to the people. This is a major, major point of closing the door on not only 2024, but this last 15-year chapter that we've been struggling to really kind of deconstruct and disable. This is the way forward. This is the light bringers, the way showers. This is the grid keepers, the light workers, the star seeds. This is everyone who has been activated getting on the same freaking page for the first time, I'm going to say ever, and finally taking a step in the right direction. We know ourselves. We trust ourselves. We've healed thyself. And collectively, we are independently stepping into the creative force energy that each and every single one of us need to boss up into over the course of 2024 so that we can collectively start creating new earth together. And that is going to be at the top of the list for 2025. So guys, that is your 2024 year ahead overview. I'm hoping that you take every opportunity as you navigate the energies of this year to come back to reference this particular session, this particular overview, check in with the months that have already gone by, see how they've transpired, see how you align with that energy, constantly be coming back and checking in with this particular overview just to see where it is that you're at and where it is that you have to prepare and anticipate for some major changes to still pop off. Of course, I want to thank you for not only tuning in, not only sitting through it, but for doing the work We need each and every single one of us to get our shit together, to do the work within ourselves, because we are being called into action at the end of 2024. And we need each and every single one of us on the same page, ready to rebel and revolutionize this next chapter of Earth's history. Thank you so much for tuning in. I send you nothing but love, and we'll talk to you soon.